welcome to the Mindfulness broadcast. I am very happy to be here with you today. I want to focus today on our breath, on something so beautiful and so powerful and so simple as our breath. So I want to share just a few things about our breath as we think about our mindfulness practice. So we take 21,600 breaths a day, approximately, right? And what we know from a neurobiological standpoint is that each one of those breaths is really a place of transformation. So we have 21,600 opportunities for transformation every day. So if we can take just eight of those breaths, or 24 of those breaths, if we did it 3 times a day, if we just took a teeny tiny percentage of those breaths and use them to really transform what's happening in our brain so that we can be more present and more self-aware, we can then also transform how we respond or react to those things that are outside of our control. So when we breathe and when we deep breathe, you've all heard me say this many times, we are transitioning from one part of our nervous system to the other part of our nervous system. One part of our nervous system is priming us to, like, we're going to fight, flight, freeze. We're going to react to this stressful situation that's in front of me. And the parasympathetic says, let's learn to respond. Let's learn to breathe. Let's remind ourselves that we're safe. Let's explore. Let's be creative. Let's work in community. Let's be vulnerable, right? Two very different ways to respond to stress. The breath is a powerful way to move from one to the other. And really, it can go either way. We can stress ourselves out just by breathing more shallow and more rapidly. And we can also calm ourselves down and transform our ability to be in that moment by breathing more deeply and more slowly. And we have 21,600 opportunities each and every day. So think about, the moment that we feel ourselves in this challenging situation. I want you can kind of visualize this if you want to. I'm sure you've had several examples that you could pull from, maybe even this morning or yesterday. There's always a moment in there where we are receiving the information, whether it's a flood or a trickle, and there's a choice that's made consciously or unconsciously of how to deal with what is in front of us. So we can really extend that moment, that pause with our breath so that we can really be in choice, right? So that stressful moment comes if we just let our brain do, or the trickle effect has happened and now we're feeling a reaction. Our brain's response on its own, if we don't get involved, is going to be that we visualize and worry about a really extreme outcome, right? And we rehearse disaster in our brain. That's what it's going to do on its own, because the brain's job is to keep us safe, right? So what we can do, that's an old system that was really helpful in earlier times, but absolutely unhelpful most of the time now. So we can transform that moment and our neurobiology to pause, to notice the pause and go into it, to go inward, to breathe with purpose, to use this tool that we have within us, and to explore then how we'd like to respond to the challenge. So that's going to be our practice this morning, is breathing. And I'm going to guide you through it. The success is showing up. That's it, right? So anything you can do over and above that, great. If you can also follow my instructions, great. If you need to tap out and breathe regularly for a while, that's fine. And then just rejoin us, right? So you can kind of think of this as like in waves. If you can also, while you're breathing, and I'll remind you of all of this as we go through it, visualize as you inhale, releasing trauma, as you exhale, releasing trauma, releasing stress, releasing old scripts, releasing outdated mental models, releasing the brain chatter and the noise. So visualizing, exhaling that. And then inhaling, visualizing self-love, self-regulation, empowering scripts, self-kindness, self-acceptance, curiosity. Right? So there's a lot of layers to this, and you can show up. You are already successful, and you can show up at whatever level of this through the rest of the guided practice. So before I go into that, I am just going to put the link one more time in the chat in case we had some folks join us a little late. This is the calendar invite for 2025. Click on that, download this, and make sure you get the mindfulness broadcast onto your calendar so it's just easy each Friday when you're able to attend. Okay, let's do it. Go ahead and close your eyes. You can take a soft gaze, just closing your eyes or keeping them just gently open where you're really not focused on any one thing particularly. We're going to bring our attention first just to our body, inviting it to fully be part of our breath practice. We can make breathing easier. Our brain naturally goes towards things that are easier. So let's just give it an easier path to deep breathing. So to do that, you might focus on making sure your feet are grounded onto the floor, uncrossing your legs if you're sitting. Be playing with feeling that big toe ground and the pinky toe ground and the heel, kind of a triangulation. Imagining us just connecting to the earth, what's below us, the carpet, whatever's there, just connecting. And then bringing a strength and energy up our legs, ensuring as we move up, those knees aren't locked if you're standing. Instead, there's a little bend in the knee, allowing the blood to move freely. As we inhale deeply, we're bringing oxygen, lots of it, into our blood and bringing it to every cell in our body. And so we don't want to lock out our joints, which might slow or cut off some of our blood pathways. And we're bringing that energy and awareness up our thighs, our pelvis, noticing those sits bones and trying to balance on those equally, not leaning too far forward and not slouched backwards. Creating a strong back, not stiff, but strong. And a soft belly, allowing the breath to move in and out. We're going to be playing with this region in our breath quite a bit. Bringing your shoulders back and down. Allowing your hands to do whatever you want them to do. As we get into breathing, I'm going to invite you to put your right hand on your belly. So you can do that now if you want. Lifting the crown of your head while you tuck your chin just a little. If you want, you can put the tongue on the roof of the mouth, just behind the front teeth. Relax the jaw, the ears, the space between the eyebrows. Beautiful. Make any adjustments to this you need to. This is not how it has to be. So let go of any thoughts that say you're doing it wrong or you can't get it right. Make any modifications you need. And then turn your breath inward. Let's dance with a few of our almost 22,000 breaths a day. What I want you to do, if you haven't already, is place your right hand on your belly. And first off, just give some self-love to this region of our body that we often put some hatred towards, a lot of judgment towards, a lot of shoulds on. Just first thank it, accept it, allow it to fully relax. We also hold our tummies in quite a bit because of cultural norms. We tighten it up, which means we keep our breath up. Let it go. As you inhale, try to extend that belly as far out as you can. And then keep your hand there at that outermost point and pull your belly away for the exhale. And just stay there for a moment, keeping your focus on inhaling, bringing your belly back out to that hand that's waiting to greet it, to love on it. And then exhaling, feeling that belly push the diaphragm back up. Diaphragm down, belly out, belly in, diaphragm up. And stay here for a moment. Keep your focus on this. Add another layer here, working to inhale through your nose, exhale through your lips. In, out. If you need to, you can pause here. We're going to move up in our lungs. You can kind of shake it off if you need to. Take a couple of your own regular breaths. Move your hands, shake it out if you want. And then place your hand back on your belly and your left hand on your chest if you feel comfortable doing so. And again, allowing that left hand to first just give love to this part of our body. Again, another part of our body that we put a lot of judgment on. It's not big enough, small enough, chiseled enough, too hairy, not hairy enough, not tan enough, not right. It's too scarred, it's too whatever. Just give us some love right now. Thank you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for the ribs that protect this heart. Thank you for beating heart. Thank you for breathing lungs. Thank you for being the center of the exchange of my outer world, right? This is where we bring in our breath, where we exchange it and exhale oxygen. Just thank you. Now we're going to extend our breathing a little bit. And again, you can tap out as you need to. We're going to use that breath again to move our breath all the way through our belly, extending that belly. And then as we exhale, we're going to actually go from the belly and up into our chest. We might feel like we're kind of pulling away from those upper ribs a bit, pulling away from that chest bone. And then back to the inhale, and this time fill up that upper chest. Feel the fill. Feel it in your rib cage. Feel it in your chest. You might even find that you want to lift that chest a little bit. Feel the belly as it extends all the way out. And then exhale slowly that whole process. And on this breath, bring the shoulders into it as well. So you're filling really all the way from your pubis bone to your throat. This whole area, this whole cavity is involved in breathing. And you can feel it externally with your hands, and you can feel it internally with your air and the lungs and the heart and the bones and the muscles. We are transforming our nervous system in this process. And this miracle happens almost 22,000 times a day. And it's everywhere we are. And it's free. And it can be done privately, and it can be done out loud, and it can be done alone, and it can be done with others. As you're exhaling, visualize letting go of that trauma, of the stress, of the negative old scripts, of the outdated mental models. Let it go. And inhale self-love, resilient mantras and scripts, empowerment, self-awareness, self-regulation, self-kindness, self-compassion. Oh boy, that kept you very over. I'm going to close this out. My apologies. Find your normal breathing. If you need to leave, please feel free to do so. When you're ready, open your eyes and come back together. My apologies for keeping you a little late. Be well, everyone. Take care. Remind yourself you sure have time. You have time. You're already doing it. You're already breathing. Bye, everyone. Take care.